TK, the Raisin Man.
All right, we back here now with the Vikings. JJ McCarthy, Kevin O'Connell, you see him up there on the screen. Last year, the Vikings. People forget how good the Vikings were last year. 14-3. The Minnesota Vikings, of course, suffering the loss in the playoffs to the Rams. That game was 27-9. So when you think of the Vikings, you're thinking about points, scoring, and you're also thinking about that defense over there too, with one Brian Flores. But a lot of this upcoming season is going to rest on the young shoulders of one JJ McCarthy. That is the QB now. Ball's in your hands now, kid. Show them what you got. Of course, JJ being hurt last year, and them moving on from Sam Darnold. So it's and Daniel Jones and the rest of the quarterback. So we're gonna get into the losses, but now is the time. You had a year to kind of sit and learn, basically, even though you was rehabbing, didn't get to play. You still had a year to learn. So I'm definitely interested to see what JJ McCarthy has going into this season. But before we get into that, we got to go back and see what the Vikings did last year and what they can improve on and what they need to do going forward. Let's get into it, y'all. Talk about it. But one real quick thing, 8.5. Keep that number in mind. I think 8.5 for a team that won 14 games last year is a little low, but they may not have that many expectations because of who the quarterback is. We'll take a look at the roster here a little bit later and see and tell you why the number is 8.5. But before we do all that, let's see what they did last year. I want to talk to the aficionados. Pat, Coach, talk to me about the Vikings and what you guys seen out there last year and what they can do to hopefully get to a Super Bowl. I would have to think that's the expectations with a team that won 14 games, but talk to me.
Yeah, this team's goal is to get back to the Super Bowl since the times of Fran Tarkenton. I think that's the last time they were actually in a Super Bowl. I think the organization has never won a Super Bowl, but they do have the pieces to do so. But like the host NYG said, what they're going to do at this quarterback position for them last year, Sam Darnold did very well. He did what he was asked to do, and Kevin O'Connell got him balling last year. And this team, they were dominant last year, man. Brian Flores had that defense playing at a level that has not been seen in a long time. The beginning of last season, throughout the season, man, that aggressive attack style defense with the aggressive attack style athletes that they have out there. Shout out Van Ginkel. Man, that dude is crazy, man. But man, he makes plays, man, and I'm glad that an athlete like him actually got his time to shine in a defense like Brian Flores, who knows how to use his abilities. But last year, 14-3, dominant throughout the regular season, and then Sam Darnold turned into a pumpkin in that playoff game, and it hurt them tremendously. But they got all their pieces pretty much back that I thing, but we're gonna get into that a little later. But the Vikings were dominant last year. That's really all you can say. That horn was rolling. Jay Jettis was doing the gritty, and everybody was balling out for them last year. But Coach, talk to them about what they did last year and why they were so dominant.
Well, last year, in terms of their rankings, overall their point total was number 9. Their yards was at number 12. The pass yards was at number 6. Passing touchdowns were 5th, so it speaks to their passing game explosion. Interceptions, they were 16th, so the middle of the pack. Rush yards, they were at 19th. Rushing touchdowns, they are 29th, so they really don't have that explosive of a rushing game. Defensively, they were ranked 5th in points scored. Total yards, they were 16th. Pass yards, they were 28th. Touchdowns, they were 12th. Interceptions, they were number 1. Rush yards, they were number 2, and rushing touchdowns, they were number 7. So they do a good job in controlling the line of scrimmage and making you one-dimensional for the most part. Now, the player who I think last year was most impactful, need I say more? Justin Jefferson. I mean, he played in 17 games, started 17 games. He had 154 targets. Receiving, he caught 103 yards. 1,533 yards, 10 touchdowns, and he averaged 14.9 yards per reception. So you see what type of player and why he's considered one of the top receivers in the NFL. So with that, turn it back over to NYG. Go ahead, brother. Take the lead.
All right, man. We seen what they did last year. Let's see who they lost. Let's see who ain't gonna be there playing. And the number 1 guy, guy right there on the screen, talking about quarterback. That's what y'all love, right? But honestly, man, Sam Darnold did have a phenomenal season last year. And he will be missed. Because as I said, you will be starting basically a rookie in a sense, someone who hasn't played yet as far as regular season games are concerned. But Sam wasn't the only player that they lost. A couple other notable names stand out there. Dalton Reisner, Garrett Bradbury, pieces on the offensive line. You also talk about a couple edge rushers, Patrick Jones II, Jahad Ward, Stephon Gilmore, Shaquille Griffin, gone. So they did lose a couple pieces here, but what's the guy that stands out to you? What's the guy that stands out to y'all out of this list as far as key losses is concerned?
Hey, I got to keep it 100. Sam Darnold, he's known to seeing ghosts, but man, he was seeing everything last year for the Vikings on at the quarterback position, and he was willing and dealing. And I do believe this is a major loss for the Minnesota Vikings, because now you have to put it to basically a rookie again, because he didn't even get any snaps last year. He tore his ACL in camp. So is JJ McCarthy ready to lead a team that is ready to win a Super Bowl? Sam Darnold was a veteran. He paid attention in class, and he went out there and he got an A. And so you saw what happened when Sam Darnold wasn't on his game in the playoffs. They got beat, and they got beat handily. So what if JJ McCarthy is on Sam Darnold's level in the playoffs throughout the season? I think that's why you got that 8.5 out there, man. It's starting to show why they're getting that 8.5 this year, coming off 14 wins. But Sam Darnold, I can't believe I'm doing this. A quarterback is the top player of a loss for a team that was a playoff team that has Super Bowl aspirations. Yeah, Pat talk about the quarterback position. But Coach, you tell them who you have as their top loss going into the season.
Well, my top losses, it's going to be all those offensive linemen. Whether they're starters or whether they're reserves, for the offense that you had last year to be an elite passing attack, that's going to be a big question mark. I mean, like NYG said, Eight and a half, is it because you have a young quarterback? That's another factor too. They don't have that explosive running game. So to help a young quarterback, you need to have a good running game. So I'm actually taking all those offensive linemen because in some regards, they're all veterans. They bring something to the table. So what did the Vikings do to replace that? To at least keep them in the spectrum of winning 14, 13, or 12 games a season. So that's where I'm focused on right now. So, but over to you, NYG.
Yeah. Sam Darnold, key loss. Let's take a look at the key additions here and see who they bought in to replace some of these cats. One name that stands out to me, really you could say two names, Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. They took two of the Colts offensive linemen. Give me. Take your sexy fatties from you. But seriously, man, Will Fries, I wanted the Giants to go after this guy, man. I think he's a stud. Offensive guard from the Colts, signed a 5-year, $88 million deal. Ryan Kelly comes over as well, 2 years, $18 million. Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave. So they getting some depth up front. As Pat mentioned, your man Van Ginkel, getting him a bag as well. Coming back on a 1-year deal, but they did add some pieces in the secondary. Harrison Smith is coming back for his 14th season. But who stands out to you guys? Which one of these players are going to have the biggest impact for the Vikings going into this season? Because, man, Vikings fans, I'm telling y'all, you are one of the top teams in the NFCs, and y'all really gotta play like it. And bringing in these guys, though, it does help. It does help. Who y'all got? Which one stands out to you?
Man, shout out to my guy Van Ginkel, man. That's one of my favorite players in the league to look at, man. That dude's just a baller. But I'm gonna talk about the person they brought in to give him some help, man. Jonathan Allen from the Washington Commanders. Thank you for taking this guy away from the NFC East and let him go over there to the North and terrorize y'all. Jonathan Allen, man, very good against the run. Very underrated pass rush and defensive tackle, and they brought Javon Hargrave over there to shore up the middle of that defense to stop people from being able to run, since their run game is not up to par. As Coach said, the sexy fatties, they went out there, they got themselves some sexy fatties, man. They poached everybody, man. Everybody's teams got their sexy fatties taken by the Minnesota Vikings this offseason. So, hey, Jonathan Allen, I think he's going to do well out there with Minnesota, man, and look for him to be hitting quarterbacks just like you see right here on the screen. But, Coach, who do you think is their best addition going into this 2025 NFL season?
Well, for me, the best addition, there it is. Cranford, New Jersey's own Will Fries. He's the type of a guard who's physically opposing, strong, solidifies any interior of an offensive line. So, and you're bringing over his running mate too, in Kelly. So he will help not only in the passing game, but in the run game. So he's that type of a player that can be forceful and help you, especially when you have a young quarterback. You need to keep his face clear, and Fries does that very well. So he's the one that I think is the most impactful for the Minnesota Vikings. So there you go. Back to my brother NYG.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you. Will Fries, like I said, one of them on the Giants. But let's see what young players they add. It's a young man's game. Let's take a look at these draft picks. They did not have many. While they was able to hoard the offensive linemen, they obviously ain't hoarding draft picks. They skimping on that end. But they did get some pretty decent guys. Donovan Jackson, definitely like him out of Ohio State. He was somebody that I scouted. Ty Felton, got to talk to him at the Senior Bowl. Excellent interview. Go check that out on the Aboriginal Sports Network, of course. And that tight end from Pittsburgh, Gavin Bartholomew. I think he's might be a little bit of a steal there. But out of these 5 picks, who y'all got? Which one is y'all's favorite, man? Talk to me, man. Pat, Coach.
Yeah, Donovan Jackson, man. Gotta steal my coach's flow, man, with the sexy fatties, man. Donovan Jackson is the most impactful person that we actually see from that list, man. That list is very short and very minuscule, but Donovan Jackson, man, bringing this kid in, man, allow him to get in there with the other sexy fatties on the offensive line, letting him learn and block up for J.J. McCarthy, because I think they're going to have to give him a lot of time to get the ball to people like Justin Jefferson and Addison. And I don't care who you are at quarterback. If you have time and you got Justin Jefferson on the field, you should be able to get the ball to that monster, because he's probably one of the most unstoppable forces at the receiver position in the NFL. So Donovan Jackson coming in, blocking, shoring up that offensive line. Hopefully he doesn't have to get in there and be one of the best offensive linemen for him this year, but he's definitely going to start here soon, and to allow Aaron Jones to get that running game going for the Vikings. And if they got a run game going, that passing game is going. But Coach, who you got, bro?
Well, you did steal my thunder with Jackson, big boy, Ohio State guy, blocking for a Michigan guy. So that's an interesting one. So, but you know, NYG talked about a Felton being a Rutgers Scarlet Knight fan, him being from Maryland. You know, he definitely did put some work onto my Scarlet Knights on occasion. And, you know, we have some DBs over there. So we do play defense over in Scarlet Nation. So he's the type of receiver, you know, he's going to learn from the guys who are already there. And he's just going to help their passing game that much more, become that much more explosive. So it allows him as a young receiver to come in, learn, develop, and then you know what? Somewhere down the line, he's going to be that type of a player that really people are going to talk about going forward. So, you know, watch out for him. So definitely like that pick for Minnesota. So, but that's pretty much going to be it in terms of, there you go, Pat interviewing Ty at the Senior Bowl. So, you know, he's definitely one of those players that I definitely like. So, but there you go. That's my thought. Back to you, NYG.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that, Coach. Yeah, Ty Felton, man. Shout out to Ty Felton. Shout out to Donovan Jackson. And shout out to the Senior Bowl, man. We had fun down there. Can't wait to get back. But let's look at the Minnesota Vikings roster, because this is going to be the tell of it all here. And let's see if they can let's see how much they have improved or didn't improve, if I may ask. Coach, you talked about Donovan Jackson. He could be a starter according to this depth chart. Again, this is unofficial, folks. So, but of course, they got Addison, they got Jefferson. You throw in Ty Felton in there, who I think is going to be pretty good as well. Sign Rondell Moore from Atlanta. But that offensive line is going to be key. It's going to be real key, because, you know, you bringing in 3 new starters on the offensive line. Now, I like the pieces that they got, but they are 3 new starters, and they are in the interior. Donovan Jackson, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries. You know, Brian O'Neill and Darrisaw, I'm not worried about. TJ Hawkinson is solid at the tight end position. A lot is going to fall on JJ McCarthy. They got Sam Howell backing him up. Defensive wise, though, I don't got a whole lot of complaints. Because I know that man, what's my man's name from Brian Flores. I don't know why I'm getting like Belichick, mixing the wrong Brian Dable and Brian Flores. I'm trying to think of the right Brian, so I don't make a mistake like Bill Belichick made that mistake. But anyway, I'm gonna put my guys back at their respectable size of the football. Pat, you talk about the offense. Coach, you go on defense, man. And let's break down the Minnesota roster here.
All right, so I'm back in my original position, going against the coach, getting my offensive scheme ready for his defense. But we're gonna talk about this Minnesota Vikings offense, man. Hey, listen, you got Justin Jefferson, Addison, and Jalen Naylor, who is underrated. I think he is a very good receiver. And then you got Ty Felton to back them up. Shout out to him. Talk to him at the Senior Bowl. I'm not worried about the receiver position. They are stacked. The offensive line, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not worried about the offensive line. You got Brian O'Neill, who's very good. Will Fries, very good. You got Ryan Kelly to play the center, who's played with Will Fries. So he's not going to have anybody out there that he can't get along with as far as knowing exactly what the calls and everything, because he already played with Ryan Kelly over there with the Colts. Donovan Jackson, very good draft pick. I think he's going to be very good. At Christian Darrisaw, you know what time it is with him. Then you got T.J. Hockenson at the tight end position. Aaron Jones at the running back position. C.J. Ham at the fullback. The only thing I'm worried about, and I'm worried about him, is J.J. McCarthy. That's the only thing that can hold this offense back if he's not making the correct reads with the time that this offensive line will get him. And then you got Bow, whatever you want to call him, the turnover machine. He will go in there and he will create some turnovers. But I do believe this offense will be good and they will be okay. So, Coach, talk to him about the defense, man. You think this defense can help this offense out this season?
I mean, they have the talent. I mean, when you think about Allen, Phillips, Hargrave right there, man, that's tough right there. And then when you add in Grignard and Van Ginkel, as your edge rushers, and then Blake Cashman and Ivan Pace, man, those are you keep them free, they can free flow and make a play. So I'd like their front seven. They do have some talent there. Tyron Ingram, Dawkins, the draft pick, being brought in. Richter, from what I remember, is a decent linebacker. You have Kobe King. Look, Kobe King played at Penn State, and he played well along with who the Giants drafted, one of the best linebackers. And King is a good linebacker. You have Dallas Turner as a cornerback. As a backup to Van Ginkel. When you look at the cornerbacks for Minnesota, Rodgers, okay, Okuda can be good. Harrison Smith, what can you say? One of the best safeties that is out there. Metellus Joshua, Byron Murphy is also a good nickel corner. So they do have some talent there. They can play. Everything right now, when you look at their starting units and some of their depth, everything is going to fall on, just like Pat and NYG just said, it's going to be about J.J. McCarthy, man. His development and what he has learned from a year sitting and not being out there physically playing. So, this defense, they look like they can handle their business. So, but back to you, NYG.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think I feel good about everything here. Two things, JJ, we talked about, and do they have enough depth? They look a little top heavy, to be honest with you, in some positions. Because think about, I don't know, some of these backups are can really step in on the offensive line if you have an injury there. And then, we talking about the quarterback position, Sam Howell, TJ Hockenson goes down. They got Josh Oliver. Looking at the defense is Do they have enough depth there? You know, as far as the edge is concerned, the edge rushers and the linebackers. I think they'll be fine, but let's see if they can get to this 8.5. That is going to be the question as we take a look at the schedule here, y'all. Yeah, y'all know how we do. This is the 7th ranked schedule in the league, but I think the Vikings, you know, they aren't going to catch any breaks, and they ain't going to be nobody, you know, threatened by JJ McCarthy, especially some of the teams you got on your schedule. I mean, Chicago, Atlanta, yeah. Cincinnati, yeah. Pittsburgh, Cleveland. But then it gets a little tougher from there. Philly, the Chargers, Detroit, Baltimore, Chicago, Green Bay, Seattle, Washington, Dallas. Holy moly. That's pretty rough right there, of a stretch. Then you get the Giants, and then you finish up in your division. But 8.5, man. 8.5. I don't know. I don't know if I'm sold on JJ McCarthy, y'all. I don't know about. I like the talent. We see the roster. We know Kevin O'Connell is a good coach. Brian Flores is a good coach. They have good coaching. But man, that JJ McCarthy and this schedule makes me a tad bit nervous about that 8.5. What's your guys' thoughts? Over, under? What we doing?
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Week 1, Chicago. I give them a win. Atlanta, loss. Cincinnati, loss. Pittsburgh, loss. Cleveland, hard-fought victory. Philly, washed. Chargers, washed. Detroit, washed. Baltimore, washed. They'll beat the Bears. They'll beat the Packers. They'll beat Seattle. Washington, I think they'll get them. I think they'll get Dallas. They'll get us in New York. Detroit, washed. Green Bay, it's a toss-up to see who can win and get into the playoffs. I'm going to be honest with you, fellas.
Right there.
I'm going to be honest with you, fellas. I'm going to go under. I got them at 8 games. And it's 8.5, correct?
Yeah.
So I have to go under. They're going to have a tough time this season. I think they're going to go through a series of losses. And I think they're going to go through a series of wins towards the middle and the end of the season when JJ McCarthy gets a little bit more comfortable. But I washed under. Yeah, under.
Coach, what you got? Over, under?
I'd have to disagree with you with that start. I mean, I think they have a good chance of actually being 5-0 going into the bye. But
really?
It's after the bye that, because again, I've said it before, I don't trust Atlanta, Cincinnati. You guys know that. Chicago division game's going to be tough, but I think they have a good chance of winning that game. Pittsburgh is going to be tough, but it's at home. Actually that's overseas.
Yeah.
It's at 9:30. So
yeah. Those two both they got back-to-back games overseas on this schedule right here.
Yeah, I mean Pittsburgh will be tough, but that's even more reason why I think that, you know what? Yeah, I think they can go 5-0. But after the bye, Pittsburgh, no. LA, the Chargers, in LA, no. Detroit, no. Baltimore, no. They're not going to win that. So how are they feeling going into that Chicago game? Because are they beat up? That could change everything, but I'm going to say they're going to sweep Chicago. The Green Bay game, no, I don't think they're going to win that one. Seattle, going into Seattle, that's a toss-up. I'm not going to give them that game. Washington, I can't give them that game. Washington, I think it would be a better team. I think Washington will be the better team. So, but then again, you got Hargrave. So, how is he going to play, especially in the run defense? Is he going to make them one-dimensional? Matter of fact, we don't even know what's up with McLaurin, right now. So, you know what? I will give them that game. Dallas, I'll give them. New York, I'll give them. The last two, I'm not giving them. I'm not giving them those last two. So that's 1, 2.
You got them at.
I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have them at 8 and 9. So I got to go under.
You gonna disagree with me and give them the same record?
But you said from the get, you said they're going to lose to Atlanta and Cincinnati. That's why I'm disagreeing with you. Because I can't. Not those two teams. Not those two teams.
So they washed. They just a different type wash.
Yeah,
but they washed.
Yeah. They washed either way.
They're washed, but to start the season, I mean, plus Atlanta and Cincinnati are in Minnesota, so that's why I'm like, and I just have no faith in Atlanta and Cincinnati. Y'all know that. Y'all know that.
Yeah. Here's the problem I have with this schedule, and I'm with you guys. I'm going under for a different reason. They got 2 home games that are overseas that you don't get that dome.
That's a fact.
And those 2 games right there against NFC North teams, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, you can get rough. It could get you may start to see some injuries pile up with this team. Now they do get the bye after that. That's why I asked you guys about depth. I don't know if they have enough of it. And to be honest, I don't know if they have enough in the tank to get to 9 wins with this schedule. What I just said, with everything you guys said, under, down under. But all jokes aside, this is a solid team. It could go either way. I could see them winning 10 games. I could see them having like a 7-8 win season.
That's what's
So it just depends on how things shake and how good JJ McCarthy looks. A lot of these teams we previewing in this division so far, a lot of it's dependent upon quarterback play and particularly with the Lions. I mean, the Vikings is depth. Now the Lions, I'm talking about depth at the quarterback position for them. I'm a little worried if something happened to Jared Goff, but this right here, this Vikings team, JJ McCarthy. Then you got Sam Howell. I'm very concerned with the quarterback position with the Vikings, and that's why I gotta go under. But that being said, we gotta go to the next team, and that's the Packers, man. Pack them up. Shout out to Leaf Diggy, man. Our resident Packers fan. I'm sure he's going to love what we have to say about his team. But we're going to do that, and we'll be right back. Let's get it.